He has a proven track record in media leadership, investment promotion, cultural diplomacy, and brand building, market growth, culture creation, creative sector promotion, and master communicator. This honorable man seemed to not need introduction. I've had a special encounter briefly with him, very warm, very friendly, and ladies and gentlemen, please stand on your feet. Help me welcome this honorable man, the king himself, His Excellency, King Kwesi Che Dia, with a round of applause. Dakwa, sorry. Please welcome him, Honorable Daka.
Thank you. Thank you. It's all right. It's all right. Thank you very much. I think she's been dating a guy called Dia who has broken her heart. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this very special occasion. It's a special occasion for me because I personally know people who are living with sickle cell disease. And when they're in crisis, it is not something you want to wish upon your enemy. Excellencies, our chairman, Dr. Hafiz Adam Staher, our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our visionary founders, and the brilliant young professionals of Ghana and all of Africa and the Caribbean, and all our cherished diaspora. We gather here today from across an ocean, but we are bound by something far deeper, deeper than geography. We're bound by history, by ancestry, and by a silent, agonizing crisis written into our very DNA. As Ghana's presidential special envoy to the Caribbean region, I humbly serve His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the people of Ghana. And I look at this room and see a bridge that connects our worlds. No matter where we are from, an ailment that affects one person in any region is an ailment that we must all help cure. But more importantly, we who suffer the ailment the most must be the ones who invest in finding the cure. Today, I speak to you about a structural flaw in the bridge that connects Ghana and the Caribbean, a genetic inheritance that has caused generations of our people to suffer in silence. I speak about sickle cell disease. This is not just a medical diagnosis, it is a transatlantic crisis. The statistics of sickle cell disease demand our urgent attention. I remember not too long ago, on the 23rd of August 2022 in Lomé, Togo, African health ministers launched a campaign to ramp up awareness, bolster prevention, and care to curb the toll of sickle cell disease, one of the most common illnesses in our region. But it still receives very little attention. Sadly, we have not put our money where our mouth is. The palliative talk is fine for cold comfort, but following up our forums and conferences with budgetary allocation, and I repeat, budgetary allocation, and this is why I encourage all the young people of Ghana, be interested in what is read in the budget. Be interested in what is read in the budget. And when you hear what is read in the budget and you do not hear that your concerns are being heard, then you must speak up through forums and even through demonstrations. Because if what bothers the citizenry is not placed in the budget, it just means that there are other things in that budget that are more important than what bothers you. In a region where sometimes 1 in every 4 people suffers from sickle cell disease, I wonder why sickle cell disease is not taken as seriously as we took a crisis that got us all to cover our noses with masks. For me, when I think of the fact that more than 66% of the 120 million people in the world affected by sickle cell disease live in Africa, it greatly disturbs me. Approximately 1,000 children are born with the disease every day in Africa. Every single day. Our dear family from nearby Nigeria bears the world's heaviest burden. A staggering 1 in 3 to 4 people carries the trait there. Right behind are Democratic Republic of Congo and our dear brothers and sisters in India, followed closely by Ghana and Uganda, where the trait prevalence can be beyond 3 out of 10 people. Ultimately, over 73% of all global cases reside within the African continent. Yet, this is not just an African challenge. Driven by historical ancestry, high prevalence binds our regions together, stretching across the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and deeply into the Caribbean, where our great-grandfathers, brothers, and sisters were torn from this land to be taken there. Our shared history remains for us to see when we see others that look like us. But that same shared history means a shared responsibility to fight the disease. To the easy-flowing, courteous question, "How are you?" we all respond without consideration of our ailments. "I am fine, thank you." But are we really fine when so many suffer in silence? The same historic winds transformed by mortal men from other regions into long years of inhumanity, greed, and plunder that carried our ancestors from across the Atlantic also carried the sickle cell gene. Today, it remains a painful, heavy link between the motherland and the diaspora. In Ghana alone, roughly 18,000 babies are born with this condition every single year. I am sure the doctors here will tell me, "Your Excellency, I'm sorry, we've gone past 20,000 now." But when I speak of Africa, I like to publish the highlights and lower the ailments, because nobody can promote us better than our own selves. Look at your hands. Everybody, spend a minute to look at your hands and feel your heartbeat. If you have these hands and you have a heart that beats, you are still alive and productive. That means you and I have the collective power to change the narrative. Normal red blood cells are soft, round, and flexible. I had to speak to 4 different doctors to just write this little part, because I do not really trust AI, because sometimes it just tells blatant lies based on the algorithms. These blood cells flow like water, carrying life, oxygen, and hope to every organ. But in a body touched by sickle cell, these cells stiffen. They twist into rigid crescent moons. They jam into blood vessels, blocking the flow of life. I have lived with somebody who had sickle cell, and I can tell you, when they had their crisis, you felt the excruciating pain, the unpredictable pain that tear through their body like shards of glass. For too long, we've treated this as an isolated family tragedy. For too long, it's been pushed into the shadows of global health priorities. starved of funding, and weighed down by cultural stigma. But let me be clear. Sickle cell disease is a world health emergency. It is an economic drain on our nations. It is a thief of young potential. We cannot fight an invisible enemy with passive awareness. To quote the beloved cultural icon and Ghanaian musician, we cannot be part-time Christians fighting a full-time devil. We need the combined brilliance of everyone in this room, as well as all nations afflicted by sickle cell disease. If you do not have the skills and competencies of a doctor or a nurse or a researcher, at least speak about it, write about it, post about it. For with a greater awareness, we'll have a greater drive for us to help. You are on the front lines. We need your expertise to standardize care, to manage debilitating complications, and to scale up advanced interventions. We can and must build robust clinical exchange programs between West Africa and the Caribbean, as well as India, where this disease is at the high levels. We must share protocols that can save lives from Accra to Kingston and from Lagos to Mumbai. To our funding organizations and philanthropists, we entreat you to shift your gaze. For decades, sickle cell has been one of the most underfunded genetic diseases in the world. Investing in sickle cell care is an investment in human capital. We need your resources to build specialized clinics, supply diagnostic equipment, and make life-saving therapies like hydroxyurea universally affordable and accessible. My plea is for government and donor organizations to consciously, actively, and intentionally support the International Sickle Cell Center. To our young professionals and innovators, you are the architects of our future. You are the promoters of our culture. We need your digital tools for telemedicine. We need your advocacy to smash local stigmas. We need your research to fund scalable cures. Use your platforms to make genotype testing a natural standard conversation before marriage and family planning. The many who have sickle cell disease may be children of people who knew full well that their genotypes were such that, much as they loved each other, bringing a child into this world was bringing a child into suffering, but were blinded by affection that has led to complications. We have a duty to make this moment mark the birth of a relentless, unshakable alliance between Africa, the Caribbean, and in the Orient, especially India, where they also suffer from high numbers of sickle cell disease. Let us prove that the crimson thread that binds us is not a curse of pain, but a bond of unbreakable resilience. To leaders of nations, to ministers of health, to researchers, doctors, and nurses, and to all who live with people who may have sickle cell disease or work with people who may have sickle cell disease, let us work to guarantee a future where every child born in our regions can breathe free, live long, in vitality, and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Kwesi Che Dakwa. Thank you very much. He said, be interested in what is read in the budget. And he also emphasized that you and I, we have the collective power to change this narrative concerning sickle cell disease. And again, we cannot fight an invisible enemy with partial blindness. I think we can take home this one and ponder over it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ambassador Hammond to give a short speech on behalf of former President Kufuor. A round of applause, please. Please, let's be generous with our applause.
Thank you. His Excellency, KKD for short. Mr. Chairman, it's a great privilege and for me a special honor to be asked this morning to be here to represent our former president. He called to say, I must be at this meeting, but unfortunately, I will not be able to do so. But I have a daughter that I need to support. And she's doing a work that is very dear to my heart and very important for not only Ghana, Africa, and the world. And so please be there to express my personal appreciation for the work that the International Sickle Cell Center is doing. Extend my commendation to the Ministry of Health of Ghana, the Ghana Health Service, and especially the philanthropic organization institutions that have made it possible for the work, the pioneering work of people like Professor Koneti Ahulu and many others that put Ghana as a trailblazer. And today, you all have continued this work. So please go and extend my commendation to them all. And for me personally, I've come to learn a lot sitting out there. His Excellency, I think your message is well noted. We all have a role to play. But our former president, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, says he wishes all of us a very fruitful deliberations. He's expecting that at the end of our conference, our meeting today being the third conference, we will be able to have outcomes that will make impact, not just having nice reports, but being able to get outcomes that will impact lives. We have been stimulated to take the mantle, to run with it. And I particularly was also impressed with the message from my very good friend, Dr. Tobin, that we all have a role to play, no small way. We should find ways that we can all contribute one way or the other to ensure that people living with sickle cell have support system that is sustainable. On this note, I want to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will quickly take our official photographs and then we will move on to the next item. So we will begin with our special guest of honor, His Excellency King Kwesi Dakwa. And with him will be His Excellency Dr. Winfred Hammond and Dr. Christopher Mensah. kindly come forward. Then to join them will be leadership of Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, and ISCC. So, Chairman, please join them.
I'm not a dictator, so I was waiting for you to
Leadership of ISCCs, we have, please join them. National Health Insurance, Ministry of Health, please, Ministry of Health. Please, you are done, Nana. Patch your line. Okay, so to join them will be to depart, to host the Caribbean diplomats and community, as well as senators and guests from the US and the diaspora. At the Juneteenth observance. Please, all speakers and panelists should join for the photograph. And by all speakers and panelists. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get. We know we will get there. It's your turn, development partners. Development partners, please. Okay, so all participants. So since we all cannot fill this place, we are doing it in blocks. So from the front seat to where, is it David?